Dr. NIRMAL is the chairman and director of NIRMAL Eye Hospital, Chennai. He's been a stalwart in implementing quality standards all over India. And he was the first one to instrument to bring out the ICAS standards for NABH. I call upon Dr. NIRMAL to deliver his first talk.
Thank you, Kumaran. So thank you, Kumaran, for this opportunity. I thank AIOC for allowing to have this instruction course on this focused topic on sterilization. So most of us, when we enter the theater, are focused on the patient and the machines we handle. But this machine we hardly get to see. It's not just a machine. It is a promise of safety to our patients.
No, my name is...
Even though sterilization may be done behind the scenes, their impact on patient safety is significant. And you know most of the sterilization process occur outside our hospital where we don't have any control, particularly the sterilization of consumables, the sterilization of the implants, and what happens in those mega institutions and manufacturing plants, we hardly get to know. Most of them use radiation-based sterilization process or hydrogen-based sterilization process, and some of them use chemicals like ethylene oxide for sterilization. So what happens within our hospital is mostly thermal, based on dry heat and moist heat, and we know autoclaving only through these two forms. So this is an overview of physical methods of sterilization. As I already said, irradiation and filtration happens outside our workplace, and mostly we'll be dealing with moist heat sterilization. In those years, we were using dry heat sterilization, particularly in camps and mobile ophthalmic units. So we'll be focusing only on these two methods, moist heat and dry heat, and mostly about moist heat sterilization, which most of the hospitals are using now. So as the name indicates, auto means it's a self-locking device. Clave means lock. So what happens when we lock the instruments or our bundle is the major focus. It's a Greek name. Latin means key. So it's a self-locking device. So it was invented in 1884. And we are talking about this same principle and same device in various sizes and few additions even after 150 years. So it has stood the test of time. So the principle is unchanged for the past 150 years. And most of the people know that the basic principle as similar that of a pressure cooker, what we use in our houses. So my talk will be focused mostly on the definition, the types, and how to use. So this is the principle. So water, when boiled to its boiling point, and when the pressure is raised with a volume constant, steam is produced. And when the closed chamber pressure rises, it kills all vegetative forms and spores in the instrument or the bundle we have loaded into the autoclave. So this is the simple principle, and most of the autoclave works on this principle. So there are certain control mechanisms. So I think this video is not working. So there are three phases of sterilization. The first phase where the pressure increases and when the pressure fluid temperature increases. So there is heating of the water. And the second phase, the pressure increases within that closed chamber. So when the pressure increases, there's a lot of changes that is happening. The steam is produced, and this steam gets into contact with the consumables, instruments, and whatever we place in the chamber. So essentially, we are dealing with three important parameters: the vacuum, pressure, temperature, given over a period of time. So why steam, why not chemical? So this is often repeated question and discussion in many of the forums. So steam is an efficient heat transference mechanism. So that's why we started with the steam engine, and the same principle goes on even now. So steam at 100 degree contains 7 times as much energy. So this is also an energy saving device, and once it heats up cells efficiently, the living organisms like bacteria or spores are killed. So those are 3 important parameters. Whatever autoclave you buy, all these autoclave work on these 3 important parameters, and this is the most repeated parameter for an autoclave: pressure at 15 psi, temperature 121 degree, and time for 30 minutes. So before deciding to buy or looking into an autoclave, you have to know the parts of the autoclave. Since the principle is the same, the chamber is very, very important. So most of us buy steel chambered autoclaves. So this have to be medical grade so that it doesn't rust. And you have to have a secure lock. Most of the accidents happen because of the locking mechanism fails. And you need to have a look at the heating element also. This is one element you will be changing whenever you are having a problem with heating or when the autoclave fails. And you also need to have a water reservoir. This is very, very important. A good quality water reservoir is important to maintain the temperature and pressure. You also have to look at the drainage system. The same water should not be there. You have to change the water for good quality steam. And for the vacuum based autoclave, you need to have a good vacuum system also. And then control panel has evolved over a period of time. From manual, now it is semi-automatic, and now it is fully automated. So most of our staff are very comfortable with all these panels and the numbers. It also helps us to monitor the autoclave process away from our workplace. And also you need to have good safety features. So these are the types of autoclave, and most of the practitioners still use this pressure cooker autoclave and vertical autoclave, and most of the accredited hospitals have gone to horizontal autoclave, and large hospitals have this automatic hospital autoclaves. So basically there are various methods, and depends on the products that is sterilized. The gravity method is basically a lab type autoclave used to autoclave the biohazardous waste. This is a legal requirement to autoclave the biohazardous waste. Now, glassware and unwrapped goods. This is what we are using with in camps or yesteryears when there were only small instruments. Now we have the vacuum-based autoclaves. This is basically very good for wrapped loads and porous materials as well as tubings and cannulas. So basically we have to package the goods for sterilization. Of course, liquid method we are not sterilizing, but some of them want to sterilize everything like BSS or Visco. In those cases, this autoclave for water, saline and agar and few chemical consumables would be useful. So let's go to the main topic, the pros and cons of various autoclaves. So this is the commonest autoclave we see in many of the hospitals. So basically it is a lab autoclave, and one important principle is surfaces have to have direct steam contact for efficient sterilization. This is the reason NIBH or any regulatory organization, whenever visits or inspect a hospital, we look for what all you sterilize in this. Right? If they are using to sterilize the reusable cannulas or reusable tubings or vitrectomy tubings, we ask them to switch over to a good quality Class B autoclave. It also takes prolonged time, so it's not really energy efficient, and there is incomplete air elimination. There are certain pockets, particularly the lower area, since it is gravity displacement, the lower bin may not be sterilized properly and can't be used in hollow cannulas or tubings because it doesn't reach those hollow cannulas and long tubings, and so it's also difficult to calibrate and validate the entire system. So, and also leave behind residual air. That means there is a risk of compromising the important process for which this is used, that is sterilization. So these are the pros and cons for people who are going to buy or looking at this option. This is relatively low cost and easy to use. Any engineer can repair this, but there is a long cycle time. It's ideal for sterilizing solid instruments, glassware, and pipettes. That's the reason why it is commonly used in labs, and it can cause damage to the porous materials. Particularly if you are using a silicone tube, it can damage the inner part. Right. So can you extend the time, please? Yeah. So and it's suitable for small hospitals and medium-sized loads. It's not moving. So the second type of autoclave commonly used is the vacuum-assisted autoclave. So here what happens is within a closed chamber, the air is removed first for efficient sterilization, and the pressure buildup happens after with the steam. So what happens, there are two types of autoclave in this, the B type or the positive pressure displacement autoclave. So here the machine has two parts. One is the steam generated, so where the steam generator gets heated up and produces steam. So there is a ready-made steam for the chamber to get heated. Okay. So, and then the N-type autoclaves, negative pressure displacement. Here, both the mechanism are within the same area. So, both steam generated and vacuum generated in the same machine. The problem here is the time delay and also the wrapping thing changes. So, this is the overview of classification of autoclaves. Class N. This doesn't use a vacuum to remove air from chamber. So this is basically meant for solid instruments. That is the reason why most of the dental units will be using this class N or class S. Class B is what we prescribe. It has a vacuum pump, can be used for wrapped and hollow instrument. In ophthalmology, if you are using these kind of instruments, it's better to switch over to B class autoclave. It is available in all sizes. There are bench top, tabletop, as well as large units. And so these are the pros and cons. So Class B autoclave has very good effective sterilization, almost close to 100%. And particularly when we are using for a small instrument for protecting the sharpness, we can use a wrapped cycle. And it's quite versatile for every fabric and porous material. We can use this. Efficiency, very short cycle time. Once the chamber is heated, the second cycle time or the second load becomes easier within 10 to 15 minutes. And a lot of cycles are there. There are 12 cycles in Class B autoclave. I think Dr. Rajiv or Kumaran will be covering that. And ease of usage. Now most of the Class B autoclaves are automated and easy to use. We can also have a control over the way that is handled. The cons part is it's a bit expensive, and maintenance needs regular maintenance, needs good quality water. This is very, very important. Having purified water is important, and the wrapping, you should not use clothes. Most of the problem happens because it is improperly wrapped with cloth, so where the fiber is released and this gets clogged into the drainage area. And compatibility is very, very important. So you have to use the common shape instruments. A large instrument will be difficult. The third one is what we are familiar with, the consumables, the ETO sterilizations is ideal for materials that cannot be sterilized with heat. It is particularly a low heat chamber, and so this can be used for commercial use also. Cost is low, but it's a long cycle time. It takes about 8 to 12 hours for smaller machines. For larger machines, it takes about 8 hours. And you also need to have some period to vent the exposure to chemicals. So you cannot use it immediately. You have to leave 24 to 48 hours before you use them. Plasma sterilizer is the new autoclave. So these are the pros. Instead of ethylene oxide, here they use plasma. So this temperature plasma helps to kill the microorganisms. So this is a low temperature sterilization useful for all sharp equipments as well as very sensitive silicone equipments or tubings. So short cycle time is the important advantage of this, and sterilization is quite effective. At present, the cartridges are costly, but it's safe and environmentally friendly because they don't use toxic chemicals, and plasma is part of our body. So the cons part is it's a bit expensive. The load capacity is very limited. You need to have either the industrial type or the smaller versions, and it also, you have to prepare the consumables for sterilization. So it takes a lot of time in preparing them. So it requires additional training for the staff to handle plasma, and regular maintenance is important, and the maintenance is quite costly. So what type of autoclave do you need? So I already told you, these are the cycles we use in autoclaves. The autoclaves you buy should possess the cycle suitable for your load. So if you are going to reuse your vitrectomy tubings or phaco tubings, so you need to have a post-vacuum cycle. So these are some of the questions commonly asked in our infection control programs, the decision making for purchase. So what size autoclave do I need? What type of loads will I be running in my autoclave? What is the steam source? Do I have the right type of water available? How much flow space will unit? So let me answer some of these questions. Size depends on the size of your practice, number of patients you're going to operate. And type of load, again, as I said, if you're going to do posterior segment surgeries and reuse your vitrectomy tubings or phaco tubings, you need to segregate your consumables accordingly decide about the loads. Steam source, ideal to separate the steam source and use a good purified water. And right type of water, again, purified water, whether RO water or altered water or softened water, anything is good. So you have to use the same source of water all the time, and also ensure after 3 months you check the inner linings of your tubings as well, because some mineralization can happen. Floor space, always autoclave is a heat sensitive equipment. Leave at least 2 feet space around your autoclave. It's very, very important for maintenance. Very often staff get injured or get burnt because of very close space. So what utilities or support requires, very, very important that you have a rapport with the engineer and also ask his suggestions. So water and energy saving technology, I think Kumaran will be covering about this. How will I get the autoclave involved? So this is also important. So installation is very, very important, as important as purchasing. You need to have a proper space as well as the power backup for the machine. Tech support is essential, and warranty, look at the warranty when you buy the machine. Most often it is 1 year, but the heating element may not be given warranty beyond 6 months. So you have to ensure that this part is looked into, and also look at the replacement part. Most of the parts may not be available if you are purchasing a imported one. So ensure that those parts are available. CMC is important, at least for the third year and beyond. The first 2 years you can have AMC. So demo and staff training is very, very important. This one equipment we will not be handling, your staff will be handling. So this part is essential, particularly from the manufacturer side. We need a good support. So where is the sterilizer managed? This is also important because parts are difficult to get after so many years. And ensure please don't buy refurbished autoclave because of the various component used. So decision to buy autoclave is based on chamber size, the validation reports required, user-friendly interface, the regulatory compromise. So purified water, I think I told water is the lifeblood of any autoclave. So you have to decide about the safe water, and also about engineering controls for the machine and administrative control like PPE for your staff, regular training and preparation for emergency like heat burns or explosions. And you also need to maintain good records for your surveillance and monitoring. A lot of new trends are coming. This is basically to jack up the cost of the autoclave because basic remains the same. Automation might help for small practices, and computerized control for record keeping and remote monitoring. And now green autoclaves are coming, that is to reduce or recycle the water consumed, and also the control system for energy efficiency. So choosing an autoclave for ophthalmic, ideal is to have a B class. So this is the one instrument that you have to look at investing on the best in autoclave available. So investing in yourself, it's the best investment you'll ever make. And for the practice, the next best investment is investing in a good autoclave. Thank you so much.